Mhm. Okay, hi everyone. How are you doing today? So, welcome to my live video. Today we're going to do something different from what we've been doing. Tonight you're gonna be binge watching my videos and we'll have some conversations about the videos. So sit back and enjoy. It's almost 10 p.m. here in Canada. Um, just enjoy these deals one by one. Let's go. So I'm just going to grab a drink, a popcorn, and a duvet, and we'll enjoy this deal together. Okay? Feel free to drop me comments. I'd like to hear from you. Let's go. So which one are we starting first? Okay, this one has gone a bit. Okay. If you can hear my baby. Okay. How's it now? Are we good? Okay. Alrighty. I have my drink here. Let's start. So a little bit about this tale. This tale is very dear to my heart. This particular one, Amara, the lady that the house girl that actually helped the billionaire to save his empire. In fact, the real title of this tale from the book, like from my book that I wrote it from, is The Billionaire's Empire. It was inspired by, Lagos, billionaires, the lifestyle they live, and I was like, okay, let me just imagine and write things, right? So there's actually a part one. Let's start from part one. In case you've not seen the first one, this is the first one where Amara is a cleaning girl in this. They told me he was dangerous, but Amara is a cleaning girl in this billionaire's empire, and his aunt kept him in the Arctic and then told her not to go there. One day, she just goes and finds something. She finds this kind looking man, and she decides, okay, I'm going to save this guy and do stuff for him. And that's how the tales begin. That's how the tale begins. Let's watch together. People, drop me comments. I want to hear from you. The real monster wore Prada. Love or money? Who will survive? Rain slapped against the windows like angry spirits trying to get in. I tightened my grip on the mop, my fingers raw from hours of scrubbing Madame Kimi's endless marble floors. The mansion was too big, too quiet, the kind of quiet that made your skin crawl. Then I heard it, a whimper. At first I thought it was the wind, or maybe one of the stray dogs that lurked outside the gates. But it came again, softer, broken, like a man choking back tears. My heart hammered. Was I imagining things? Madame Kenny had warned me on my first day, never go to the attic, Amara. Never. Her voice had been sharp. My drink. Cheers. Her eyes darker than midnight. My brother is unwell, a danger to himself, to you. But that sound, it didn't sound dangerous. It sounded human. The stairs creaked under my weight as I climbed, my pulse roaring in my ears. The attic door was locked, but the key hung on a rusted nail beside it, like a test, like a trap. I turned it. The lock groaned. The stench hit me first. Urine, sweat, something rotting. Moonlight bled through a cracked window, painting the room in jagged shadows. And then I saw him, a man, chained to the wall like an animal, his wrists raw and bleeding. His clothes hung in tatters, his beard matted with filth, but his eyes, God, his eyes, were the clearest, most terrifying thing I'd ever seen. Not mad, trapped. He lunged forward, chains rattling, and I stumbled back. But he didn't attack. He pleaded. "Help me," he whispered, his voice cracked from disuse. "Please, they're trying to kill me." Behind me, the floorboard creaked. I whirled around. Madame Kemi stood in the doorway, her silk robe gleaming like oil under moonlight. Her smile didn't reach her eyes. "Amara," she sighed, shaking her head. "Now you've done it." The jasmine perfume clinging to Madame Kemi's silk robe. Hi, Chinenye. How are you doing? Welcome to our watch party. Enjoy your time with me. Let's chill together, people. Turned rancid in my nostrils. My knees locked. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. "You weren't supposed to see this," she purred, stroking my cheek with ice-cold fingers. Behind her, the chained man's eyes burned into mine, desperate and too clear for a madman. A drip echoed in the attic. Blood, rain, I couldn't tell. Sweet, stupid Amara. Madame Kemi sighed, her gold bangles clinking as she gripped my chin. "Did you think I hired you for your cleaning skills?" Her thumb pressed hard under my jaw. "I chose you because you're invisible. No family, no one to miss you." The moment Madame Kemi's silk sleeve brushed my arm, I knew I'd crossed a line. "Curiosity is dangerous for girls like you," she murmured, tilting her head like a bird examining a worm. Behind her, the chained man's eyes locked onto mine. Not wild like she'd warned, but painfully aware. A floorboard groaned upstairs. Madame Kemi's polished composure cracked for just a second. "Wait here," she ordered, her perfume lingering like a threat as she swept out. The moment the door clicked shut, the man lunged forward, chains clanking. "The portrait in the sitting room," he whispered urgently. "Look at our hands." His voice, though hoarse, carried an educated Lagos accent that didn't match his ragged appearance. Footsteps pounded down the hall. I shoved the banana I'd saved from dinner into his hands. His fingers, surprisingly smooth beneath the dirt, brushed mine with unexpected gentleness. "You're kinder than she deserves," he said softly. "Run." I ran. The mansion's grand hallway seemed to stretch endlessly, my bare feet silent on the cold marble. Just as I reached the servants' stairwell, a shadow moved. Emeka. The driver leaned against the wall, idly spinning his car keys. "Madam said you might wander," he said, but his usual smirk was absent. For the first time, he looked conflicted. "You shouldn't be up here." A crash from upstairs made us both jump. Emeka's eyes darted toward the sound, and I seized my chance. The sitting room smelled of lemon polish and lies. The massive portrait over the fireplace showed Madame Kemi and the madman posing as loving siblings. But the longer I looked, the more wrong it seemed. Her hand gripped his wrist too tightly. His smile didn't reach a floorboard creaked behind me. I whirled to He mouthed. The server bumped into me, spilling champagne down my dress. Sorry, ma'am, he muttered, but his fingers slipped a note into my palm. Welcome. 9 p.m. Trust no one. The clock ticked slower than jealousy. I pretended to admire the ice sculpture, a ridiculous peacock, while watching Madame Kenny work the whip. The laugh was too loud, her diamonds too hot. When she embraced Tunde, the manicured nails doubly tipped sleeves like claws. My nephew's miraculous recovery, she announced to a phone. God is good. Her smile didn't reach his eyes. 9:03 p.m. The balcony overlooked Lagos's shimmering skyline. Tunde appeared like a shadow, his cologne cutting through the humid night. Something citrusy, alive. You're even more beautiful in moonlight, he said, voice low. I stepped back. You lied. You're not trapped. I am. He unbuttoned his cuff, showing a fading bruise. Different chains. She's dosing my teeth. Keeps me confused in public. Tonight's the first time I've been clear-headed in weeks. A sob clogged my throat. Why me? Moonlight caught the gold in his eyes. Because when I described the maid who fed me Ethel reroll, my lawyer said you didn't exist. Kenny never hired you. The door creaked open. Tunde shoved a key into my hand. Room 412, Echo Hotel. Go now, before spinning me into a waltz, just as Madame Kemi stepped outside. Planning your escape, nephew, she purred, her jeweled fingers curling around his arm. The hotel room smelled of lemons and secrets. A folder on the bed contained Kioma's autopsy report, drowning but lungs showed no water, and photos of the Oriad's salvage, with Madame Kemi aboard, tossing something heavy overboard. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. She knows you're gone. Don't return to the mansion. Amy. Then another. Minutes later. Look under the pillow. A single silver key gleamed against the linen. Tagged Safe Deposit Box 17 First Bank 6 Haven. The bank security guard frowned at my disheveled appearance, but nodded at the key. The box held 3 things. 1. A USB drive labeled for Amara only. 2. A deed to a souvenir bakery in Kioma's name. 3rd, a handwritten note. If you're reading this, I'm dead or disappeared. The bakery is yours. Kioma dreamed of opening one. He Tunde said. He sees people, not status. Tears blurred the words. Outside, rain began to fall as my phone lit up with a new message. This time from Tunde. Meet me at the bakery. Bring pepper spray. The bakery smelled of cinnamon and old dreams. I traced the faded Kioma's Delight sign above the door, Tunde's key turning smoothly in the lock. Inside, dawn light filtered through flower-dusted windows, illuminating a space frozen in time. Mixing bowls stacked neatly, a vintage oven, and a single unfinished recipe card in looping handwriting. Love bread, 1 cup courage, 2 tablespoons trust. She never got to bake it. I whirled around. Tunde leaned against the doorframe, his tuxedo replaced with simple jeans and a wrinkled shirt. In the soft morning light, he looked younger, human. Anika used to bring me here when we were boys, he said, running a finger over the flour-smeared counter. Kioma would let us lick the mixing spoons. His voice cracked. She didn't drown, Amara. Kenny had her. A shadow moved in the alley. Tunde yanked me behind the counter just as a black SUV rolled past, its tinted windows hiding the occupants. We crouched there, knees touching, his breath warmed my temple. They're watching my properties, he whispered. But Kemi doesn't know about this place. Reaching under the counter, he pried up a loose floorboard, revealing a small safe. Not money, he said at my questioning look. Better. Inside lay a stack of handwritten letters, Kioma's diary, and a faded photo of Tunde, Anika, and Kioma as teenagers grinning on the beach. Rudy's finger hovered over Kioma's face. She was documenting Kenny's fraud. Found out our family business was smuggling conflict minerals in baking shipments. He handed me the top page. December 12th. Tunda's too trusting. Kenny's special ingredient is blood. I have proof. The words ended mid-sentence. A knock at the back door. We froze. Then, 3 quick raps, a pause, 2 more. Emika's signal. He slipped inside, his usual swagger replaced by exhaustion. Kenny's panicking, he said, tossing a phone on the counter. It played a voicemail. Find that USB before Tunda does. Offer the maid money or a coffin. I heard Kenny's voice, shrill with fear. Emika met my eyes. She's desperate because you've got the one thing she can't buy. What? Tunda answered for him, lifting our intertwined fingers. My trust. We spent the morning plotting amid sacks of flour. Emika tapped the USB drive. This lists Kenny's offshore accounts and the shipping manifests. But we need more. Someone on the inside. Chief Okafor, Tunda said. He's Kenny's silent partner. But he loves 2 things more than money. His reputation and... He grinned, nodding to the oven. Kyoma's coconut bread. A wild idea took shape. As I measured ingredients, Tunda called the chief, inviting him for a private tasting of Kyoma's legendary recipes. You're brilliant, I murmured, kneading dough. He dusted flour on my nose. We're brilliant. 4 p.m. The track was set. The bakery's vintage bell jingled as Chief Okafor entered, his tailored suit at odds with the cozy space. His eyes widened at the steaming loaf on the counter. Just like Kioma made it, Tunda said smoothly, serving a slice. Funny how food jogs memories, like the Oriente's cargo last June. The chief choked on his bread. A cold hand gripped my ankle. I gasped, spinning around. No one was there. The whispers returned, louder this time. You shouldn't be here. My heart pounded. The door creaked open. And then I saw something that made my blood run cold. Life had been wonderful. My new relationship made me bloom and glow. I'd come back from the shop earlier than usual. The sight of Linda slumped at my doorstep sent my heart racing. Linda, I screamed, sprinting toward her. She stood, her frame lighter, her smile strained but genuine. We clung to each other, her familiar jasmine perfume mixing with the lago's humidity. You look like a Nollywood star, she teased, poking my glowing cheeks. But as we settled over jollof rice, her laughter faltered. This cola, he's real? She asked, her voice low. No red flags? No. Secrets? I scoffed. God finally sent me an angel, Linda. No demons this time. Wow, in Ken. I am glad you are this excited about him. He must really be a great guy, I begged. Connect me to one of his friends now. If he is this nice, he must surely have awesome friends. We will find a way around that, Linda. Just trust me. So, are you spending the weekend at his place? Weekend? No, oh, I have never slept over at his place. We are being careful. We don't want to indulge in premarital sex. So, to avoid the temptation, our date is mostly outdoors. I just visit once in a while. Weekend, you have started with this, your moon ways again. Oh, spending one weekend with a guy you said is in love with. You won't make you fall into sin. You are both matured and won't do something you haven't decided to do. What if he brings other girls to his house during the weekend? What if you are not the only one he is seeing? Better be smart. Pay him surprise visits. Spend time with him. Madam Smart, leave me alone. Oh. She nodded, but her eyes lingered on Cola's Instagram, his posts with me, his polished life. Just stay sharp, okay? Angels sometimes work for heaven and hell. A chill prickled my neck. relationship with Cola. He hasn't given me any reason to doubt him. We have little fights here and there and resolve issues amicably. His mom invited me over for a family dinner. I couldn't help but admire the serene environment and the pure love his family had for me. His mother told me tales of how she visited Anambra State because most of her friends were Igbo people. I could tell she liked me. Amidst the conversations, his mother, Mama Cola, hugged me like I'd always belonged. "You're the daughter I prayed for," she said, pressing gold bangles into my hands. "Wear these, they're blessed." Later, his sister Tammy cornered me in the kitchen. "Mama gave my brother's ex the same bangles," she whispered, her voice trembling. "She vanished." Before I could react, Cola swept in, his laughter dissolving the tension. "Tammy's jealous," he joked, kissing my temple. "She wants your glow." But that night, I dreamt of faceless women wearing gold, their voices echoing. "Run." I woke up, my heart beating wildly, and while I was still thinking about my dream, I got a call from Susie. She was the international hair vendor Cola linked me to. She helped put me through exportation. She is my business mentor. She mentioned flying into the country, and we needed to have an urgent business meeting. I dressed up and met her at a hotel. We went over my accounts, made a few corrections, she gave me new tips, and we caught up on old tales. While at it, she told me she had a surprise for me, and if I trust her, we could go on. I said, okay, and quickly sent Cola a text in case something went wrong. She put a blindfold on my eyes and led the way. I didn't know what to imagine anyway, so I decided to enjoy the walk-up. She made me climb the staircase. I could perceive new leather. Was it a car she got me? She opened my eyes. I was in a plane or private jet. I couldn't tell, but it looked lovely. The cabin was lined with rich leather, custom wood veneer. The floors were lined with gold. Village girl like me, I could lay on that floor all day. "Abby, won't you?" "Don't lie, oh." The stonework and furniture inside were so stylish. I walked around the bedroom. It was like a fairy tale bedroom with a walk-in shower. I had never seen such luxury all my life. "Come see this," she said. There was a private dining room and multimedia theater. While I stood akimbo staring at the big screen in awe, I turned to hug her and almost ran wild with excitement. Cola was kneeling behind me with a 59.60-carat pink diamond, the exact one I adored a few days ago when I was with him. "Say yes, say yes," screamed Linda and my younger sister Uju. "That cost $71 million. My people, I passed out. The surprise was overwhelming. My heart couldn't take it. I was woken by the smell of barbecue fish that filled the air. I stretched on the lovely bed and Cola smiled and said, "I am still waiting for your response, my love." I screamed, "Yes," and he put the pink diamond on my finger. But as Cola slid the ring on my finger, I glimpsed a nameplate on the jet's door. Property of Redwater Holdings, a company I'd never heard him mention. "Whose jet is this?" I asked, my voice light. "Ours now," he said, kissing me. "I leased it for you." Relief. The words should have melted me. Instead, my skin prickled. It was all merriment. I felt like an actual queen. We flew to Paris, and I did some shopping there. Back to Lagos to plan my dream wedding. It was all like a dream. When I returned to Nigeria, my little apartment everywhere looked so small and like a child's play. But I will be here till I get married to Cola. In Paris, Cola spoiled me rotten. Designer gowns, picnics under the Eiffel Tower. But at a Michelin-starred restaurant, his phone buzzed. A text flashed. "Redwater shipment delayed. Please needed." "Work trouble?" I asked, sipping champagne. He stiffened. "Just logistics, baby. Forget it." That night, I Googled Redwater Holdings lockups. The screen flooded with headlines. "Offshore shell company linked to disappearances." My finger hovered. Then I closed the tab. Not today, I thought. Today, I was Cinderella. Back in Lagos, Linda dove into wedding prep with militant zeal. "We need a hashtag. offshore accounts, property holdings, former fiancés. She slammed it shut. You can't. I don't. I snapped, fear curling my stomach. I don't want to know. It could be another cola, please. It was a quiet Friday evening. I had just seen Linda off at the park. Her father's health had taken a turn for the worse, and he had requested her presence. No one knew why. Before she left, I slipped some money into her hands. Take this for his treatment, I said. She hesitated before hugging me. Thank you again. God bless you. I'll call once I arrive. I sat with her until the bus filled up, waiting as it pulled away. Back home, I had dimmed and drifted into sleep. Then suddenly, I jolted awake shivering. My body was drenched, water still pouring over me. It took me a second to realize what was happening. My roof was leaking badly. I grabbed a towel, dried myself as best as I could, and stepped into the living room, only to find the floor submerged. Water pooled everywhere. I sighed, sitting on the driest part of my bed, waiting for the night to pass. By morning, I called the landlord. He was as helpful as expected. The carpenter won't be available until Monday, he said flatly. Great, just great. To make things worse, Linda had traveled with her spare key, and I had nowhere else to go. So I called Kola. He had traveled to Abuja the day before, but I figured he might have a solution. Sorry about the leakage, baby. His voice was calm. To avoid complications, you should wait for the landlord's carpenter. But since you have my key, you can stay at my place till it's fixed. That was all the convincing I needed. I packed a bag and left for his house. Nearly thinking, I spotted Toby. Hope all is well, Lincoln. You've never come here this early. Yes, ma, all is well. My boyfriend Kola lives here. I had a small issue at my apartment, so I'll be staying the weekend. Oh, Kola, the man with a large heart. A great guy. It's good to have you around. She beamed. And my order? You haven't forgotten, have you? I smiled. No, I'll bring it once I pick it up from the shop tomorrow. Then, out of nowhere, help me, help me. A woman's wail cut through the air. We turned. Mama Ngozi, the roasted corn seller, was running towards us, tears streaming down her face. Toby, help me, she cried. Ngozi has been missing for 2 days. I stiffened. What do you mean? Toby asked. My daughter. My 9-year-old daughter. I went to her school. They said her father picked her up because she was sick. But when I called him, he swore he was still at the building site, hitting cement. My stomach twisted. A child missing. Something wasn't right. I placed a hand on her shoulder. Send me a picture of Ngozi. We'll spread the word online. Someone must have seen her. Toby grabbed Mama Ngozi's hand, leading her toward the police station. I watched them go, unease settling in my chest. Then I turned and stepped into Cola's house, completely unaware that the secret lurking behind those doors would change everything. If you are still here with me, please take a minute to like this video, share it with your friends, and please subscribe. Thank you. I went to the shop. I had a great time as customers came to check out my new arrival. I came back with Toby's new order. I went to her house and knocked, but no one seemed to be home. I called her phone severally, but she didn't answer. Several times, but she didn't answer. I finally went to the market to buy groceries and decided to prepare something nice for Kola as he was returning the next day. Shopping took a while because I was ready to make him the choicest meals. Kola needed to know he was getting married to an Igbo babe, so I was ready to make him Igbo dishes. I got azumagala, assorted meat, okporoko, and goat meat. I would make him ofe onugbu, ofe ora, okazi soup, and finally would learn to make ewedu. After shopping, I got home and began to prepare the different dishes. I wanted to stock up enough food. So if you're still here, thank you for staying with me. This is one of my favorite tales. In fact, in fact, the actual tale, the name of this book is Mirage, the book I wrote about a girl who's hopelessly in love with this billionaire. They were dating. In fact, at some point he proposed to marry her until she discovered this deadly secret. She was like, should I just manage him like that? Let's just work on the relationship. So this brings me to a particular talk, right, where women find things about their partners, a boyfriend, they're not even married yet. You find some red flags in them, things you know you can't live with. For example, make I no call names, Jerry. You shall know. Relationship people will give you the full gist. Things that you cannot manage in a man. Instead of just letting the man go, most women sit back in that relationship until that attribute comes to bite them on the ass, and they now start regretting, oh, why did I marry this man? So as the tale continues, enjoy yourself. I just wanted to just pop in and tell you that I'm still right here with you, and this is like my favorite tale. Yes, the soups they mentioned are particularly Igbo soups because, of course, this is Nkem, an Igbo girl, and me, I'm an Igbo girl. So, um, don't get carried away if you're not Igbo, but enjoy it. Okay. Filled with smoked fish, stock fish roll, and lots of meat. I enjoyed the aroma of my cooking and danced to the music playing on TV. Suddenly the light went out. I called Jojo the gate man to put on the generator, and he pleaded that we were out on diesel. Before I could offer him money to buy some, he already hung up. I decided to see chat up Linda while I waited for him. While I waited for the light, I began to hear a voice crying. It was strange because I was home alone. Was I dreaming? So I went outside to see what was going on. No one was outside. It's a big estate. And there was this drop-dead silence. I waved it off. It was probably my imagination. While chatting with Linda, I dozed off. I felt a cold tap on my leg. I opened my eyes and saw no one. As I walked close to head over to the kitchen, I heard the cry again. This time it was disturbing. Mommy, mommy, help me. I put off the gas to confirm where the voice came from. It sounded like it came from within the house. After a few minutes, it stopped. I knew no one was in the house, so I ignored it again. But I remembered the cold tap on my legs while I dozed off. Cold shivers ran through my spine. Then came the voice again. I knew it was time to find out what was going on. I began to search the house frantically. I followed the voice and found a big black board. While I got closer to the board, the voice became louder. The area was dark. It was an entirely different segment of the house that looked detached. Behind it was a small door. I tried to open it, but it was locked. I put on the torch of my phone and tried to force it open, all to no avail. It was an iron door. I finally gave up and was heading back to the sitting room, but my peace eluded me. I couldn't stay knowing something was terribly wrong. Fortunately for me, I found a bunch of keys lying carelessly beside the waste bin. I tried 5 of them, but nothing worked. My heart beat wildly. I prayed that the sixth key would work. Finally, the sixth key opened the door. I opened the door slowly. I put on my torch and almost fainted at what I saw. I had to act quickly. 3 little girls laid on the bed in the room, within the age range of 4 years to 8 years. And on the center table was a tiny syringe and bottles of injection, then tons of magazines with Sorry for disturbing you, distracting your watch. So, I like to think Nkem as a very brave woman. Um, I used to think about this scenario. If I was the one that was in my man's house and suddenly I hear a child crying, And then I don't even know if I'm brave enough to go look for what it is. What if it's a dead woman or a man that's being locked up that will just beat you up? How you go do? So I like to think this character came as a very brave woman who loves with all her heart. She wanted to remain chaste before getting married to this billionaire guy, but then in the course of their relationship, she had issues in her house. She needed to sleep over at his, prepare some meals for him. During the course of all of this, she then found the secrets he's been hiding. If you were the one that found children sedated in your man's hidden room somewhere, what would you do? What do you think about Nkem? Do you think it's something women of these days would do? Do you think they will call the police or talk about this thing to someone, or they will just hide it away? I beg, make I just chop the man money, make we marry, husband's cars. What do you think? Let's continue. I hope you're having a good time with me because I'm having a good time with you. And my small madam is awake, so we're up tonight. New children. Two were still asleep while the oldest of them all was drowsy, still saying, "Mommy, mommy." What have I gotten myself into? I had to get them out of the place. I carried the youngest one. When I put her on my shoulder, her pink dress was stained with blood. They had been there for a while and were exhausted. Has she been sexually abused? My heart beat wildly. My head was almost exploding. Oh my God, hope it's not what I am thinking. While I carried her to the balcony in front of the house, many thoughts crossed my mind. How could this be? What's going on? Have I been dating a pedophile? I thought he was my answered prayers. Oh, but then he isn't. I laid her in the front of the house, carried the second one, and kept her outside too. I went in for the last girl. The oldest girl, she was already partly awake. While I bent to carry her, I heard a female voice behind me. "You weren't meant to see this." Then I felt a very sharp pain at the back of my head and collapsed. Apparently, Iyatobi had called my phone and I wasn't answering. Unknown to me, Iyatobi is a secret detective who has been investigating the case of missing children in the estate. Immediately she came to Kola's house and saw the two girls lying outside. She sensed danger. She called for backup, got into the house, and arrested the lady. While they took her away, they met Kola at the estate gate. He sensed danger and took to his heels. Ayutobi's team didn't come to play. They gave him a hot chase, but missed him. Kola was too swift. I was taken to the hospital near the estate and regained my consciousness an hour later. I was down and shattered. I thought I had found the one. What should I do? He's so good to me. He will change. We can send him for counseling. How can I abandon my new love? Okay? Will you rather have your children molested? Snap out of this. He needs to pay. Suddenly, I was struggling to raise my head. I felt a cold hand pull my hair and drag me down from the hospital bed. I reeled in pain. I was quickly losing my breath. He had pulled the bandages on my head. Blood dripped down my face. I kept shouting. Then suddenly I woke up. It was a dream. The doctors and nurses were having a ward round. I narrated my experience to the doctor and he said, "You had a head trauma in Ken. The pan the lady hit you with is a heavy metal. There could be brain injury. You have been scheduled for a CT scan tomorrow morning." "Thank you, doctor," I said while I still held my head. "Hi, ma'am. You have a guest." I was delighted to see Iyatobi with a female detective. "Hi, Ken. I am Detective Maria. This is Bola, the lead detective of this case," Iyatobi said. Bola was in her 50s. I could tell she was very experienced, though calm and not talking much. "I am glad you were early to rescue the girls," Iyatobi continued. "They are currently being attended to by the pediatrician and have been united with their parents. I need your help to find the culprit. I mean Kola, your boyfriend. Where do you think he might be? Hasn't he been found? I thought you had him in your custody," I queried. "What about the lady? Did you catch her?" "That's the problem in camp. We had the lady Sandra, but she was found dead in her cell 30 minutes ago." Cold shivers ran down my Chances are, Kola had Sandra killed. Can you help us? You may have to come with us. Sorry, Detective. Her condition is bad. She has been scheduled for a CT scan. The doctor gently interrupted. It's okay, doctor. Can you give me something in camp? Yes, he likes to hide out in his cave house off Mobilogy Street. It's an underground building. I don't know how you can get in, but you might find him there. Here is my card. Call me if you hear anything, the calm Bola said, as she handed me her card. While I laid on the bed, I tossed endlessly. Something was not right about this whole thing. Why is Sandra dead? At least I would have looked her in the eye to know why they kept those girls there. I was deeply disturbed. I vowed to get to the root of the matter. It was already 12 a.m., same day. I sneaked out of my ward, found a ward coat in a room I passed, wore it, and began to walk as fast as my legs could carry me. I was already close to the exit when the nurse saw me. Hello, doctor. Wait. She grabbed my arm. Nkeli? Ibeka Ina AJ, where are you going to? It was the elderly matron on night duty. Mama Pico let me go. She held me. Mama. She wouldn't let go. So I pushed her with all my strength, took to my heels, and ran out of the hospital. Looking around, no one was following me. I checked my phone and called a boat rider. Surprisingly, I got one. The road was clear. 30 minutes later, I got to the cave. Everywhere looked empty and abandoned. Kola must have left town. I bent and began to move through the cave. Everywhere was dark. It was scary. I pressed an unknown button and I was swiftly moved to the second floor. Fear gripped me. While I scampered to regain my composure in the dark room, I heard a voice faintly. Kola! It's Kola. No, I need explanations before these people catch me. I listened again. No, that's a feminine voice. I moved closer. Put your hands behind your back. You're under arrest. By 12 a.m.? I heard the cuffs click. Ha 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 ha. Kola laughed scornfully. It's such a shame you are the detective on my case. Bolaji, how can you forget so soon all you did to me, Auntie Bola? You ruined my life, Bola. You got me here. You took away my innocence. You used me as your sexual toy from age 8. Bola. You would tell Mom you wanted to take me for an ice cream. Meanwhile, you took me to your hotel room where you messed me up. While Mom thought you were her angelic baby sister, I was here suffering from a dysfunctional being like you. You will rot in hell for this. How many of us did you ruin? Did you expect me to turn out normal? Oh, you don't know the length I went to get rid of the dent you made in my soul. I started craving children. I even went to Orlu village in order to be cleansed of this dirty thirst for children after I confided in Chike, my best friend. So, sorry to interrupt you again. So, this is a very, very sensitive topic where children are molested or abused. I feel like parents should pay closer attention to aunties and uncles taking children away. There was a video I watched 2 days ago where the YouTuber was talking about parents having conversations with their children. Like parents should find a way to connect with their children after school. How was your day? How did your day go? What happened today? Okay, and then you get your children talking to you. They are willing to open up to you at any time. They connect freely to you. That way they can tell you, oh, one uncle touched my bum, one auntie did this to me, someone pushed me. But if we're not having these conversations, we're so busy with school, work, we're just busy. If we're not having conversations with our children, we won't know when they are slipping away and getting into different forms of activities that belong to the adults. So sometimes it might just be a little candy that was given to your daughter, or a little sweet, or biscuit, or money that was given to your child, and then they follow a particular auntie or uncle. And at the end of the day, they get messed up. And the sad thing is, the trauma on the long run is so, oh, it's so terrible. It's very difficult for these people to get out of it, except God helps them, or they are just able to get therapy and get some help. So I want us to pay attention to our children as parents, intending parents, pay attention to your partner, and notice changes. When you notice changes, you talk to them and find out what's going on. And hopefully we're able to catch these things early so that we don't end up ruining a whole generation. If you're still with me here, please subscribe to my channel, share this video, turn on your notification bell so that each time I create a new video, you will get to know. Or each time I go live for watch parties like this, because I'll be doing it often, and we'll be having these midnight conversations, you will be the first to know. Thanks for sticking with me. Let's continue. I stayed in his shrine for 3 days, surrounded by python, just for this to go away. Bola, may you know no peace. Is that all? Bola said after a long silence. I hate you, Auntie. Look what you put me through. The only reason I'm telling you this is because whether I live or die, you will always be burdened with the suffering you made me go through. At this point, tears rolled down my cheeks. Such an amazing man ruined by someone's sexual fantasy. Oh no. I sat down on the ground and began to cry. I could hear Cola's shaky voice. He was broken. You make me prey on little girls by being so nice to their parents, paying their school fees, and giving their families financial help. I truly love their families, but I couldn't help defining those little ones. I am in pain, Auntie. I cursed the day I met you. Oh, I told my mouth, it all adds up. That was why he was so generous to the corn seller's family. I hope you Kim will understand this. How do I make this go? My heart sank. I have never loved someone the way I love Cola. Bola became violent and beat him to stupor. Shut the fuck up, she begged him. Your mother married my heartthrob. I needed to pay her back. Your ruin is her reward. You will rot in jail and Bola will see to that. Yes, Sandra, the one that knew your little secret. Your sister is dead. I had her poisoned in her cell. I wouldn't let the little tramp ruin the world I have built for me. Oh, Cola, no one will stand by you. Your name is all over the news. The world hates you. She tied his arms and legs and told him no one must hear a word of this. He screamed as 2 men appeared and dragged him on the floor out of the cave. The floor was made of very rough edges. He got bruised and smeared his blood everywhere. I dialed Ayatol's line, then switched off. I already had all Detective Bola said on record, so I sent it to Ayatobi. With my heart in my mouth, I prayed like never before. I was in the lion's den and could be caught. I prayed to God for Ayatobi to catch up with Bola. I couldn't find my way. I saw a staircase and followed it. I needed to know where she was taking Cola to. 2 men dragged Cola out of the house. Ayatobi was taking too long. I dialed her number. A creature climbed my leg in the dark cave. I stamped my feet out of fear. They hurt me. What's that noise? One murmured. I turned and began to run downstairs. I was too slow. My vision was getting blurry. The bandage on my head was drenched. Their footsteps got closer. They were catching up with me. I opened the exit door. Then he shot my leg. I fell. Ayatobi and her crew arrived. My heart leapt for joy. Ayatobi came through. On your knees, your hands on your head, she commanded. Bola went down. She was arrested and jailed. I hope she will remain there for life. I was glad to help Kona. Sorry, it's me again. So, I like to present Aya to be as a very beautiful character. I really loved her in this tale where she was a customer to this lady, buying wigs from her, but secretly investigating missing children, right? I wish Iyatobi is that detective that every community has, who is on her feet and ready to jump into action immediately she was called. Imagine if Nkem wasn't able to reach her or she didn't get Nkem's message, Nkem would have been killed by the other fake detective. So this also shows us the rot in the system, what goes on in the system. I mean, the detective was her Cola's aunt, who they found him when he was small. And then the other detective was Kem's customer, who buys from her, but fortunately was actually checking out the case. And good a thing is Yatobi is a kind of detective every community should have. Nigeria, Africa, everywhere in the world, because this rot happens in the system all over the world. It doesn't just happen in African countries, it happens everywhere. Okay, we're getting to the end of this. I'm so glad you're hearing me. He went to jail too, but this time in therapy. A therapist sees him every month. The three girls also underwent therapy and are still on it. I became a sexual abuse activist. I have seen the damage firsthand. My team and I go round giving sexual education in schools, churches, on television, teaching parents to be wary of exposing their children to the trauma of sexual abuse. Kola was a victim, but he couldn't wield his trauma. He traumatized more people out of pain. I am glad I saw through the mirage. I am glad I came across someone as amazing as Kola. He would be away for a very long time.
In the dazzling world of Nigerian billionaires, secrets lurk beneath the surface. Kola, a wealthy businessman, had it all: power, influence, and a reputation no one dared question. But when one woman uncovers the truth about his dark past, everything changes. Justice is coming, and no amount of money can stop it. In this suspenseful crime thriller, we unravel the lies, betrayal, and the downfall of a man who thought he was untouchable. How does power blind a man to his own destruction? And will justice finally prevail? Watch till the end to find out.
It started with a simple delivery. Then came the late night drives, the extravagant dates, the whispered promises. Kola was everything I prayed for: charming, powerful, dangerously perfect. Too perfect. At first, it felt like a dream, until the cracks started to show. The secrets, the unspoken words, the lingering shadows behind his smile. I wanted love. I found something else. Because when a man like Kola comes into your life, you don't just fall, you surrender. And some popular Lagos, Nigeria, the one you have always heard about. Here is a beautiful scenery of where I live. Today I bring you my story, a tale of love, mystery, and a very deep secret. Listen as I narrate my life's ordeal to you. Maybe you will learn a thing or two. It was a long day. I had cried my eyes out. I don't drink alcohol, but I suddenly found myself thinking about a very popular bar in Lagos, the Mind's Bar. I needed to drown my sorrows. I had been down for a long while now. I had never entered the Mind's Bar, but having started on my way back from work, it seemed to be healing my life. I had stayed home for 3 days crying my eyes out. It was time to do something different. I stood in front of the mirror and stared at my swollen face with bloodshot eyes and unkempt hair. Girl, get up and move on. I had a quick bath, combed my hair, slipped into a jean trouser and a white t-shirt, called a cab, and headed straight to Mind's Bar. It is as beautiful as I had imagined. A very classy bar with a surreal environment. The DJ played only calm music. I could swear it was owned by a classy man who loved sophistication and had probably lived abroad or is well traveled. I sat down on one of the bar stools, admiring the beautiful environment, and again not knowing what to even think about, till the bartender walked up to me. Good evening, ma'am. What would you like to drink? Drink? How was I to know what to order? I had never been to a bar nor tasted alcohol. We have a variety of drinks, he continued. Then she caught my attention. At the other end of the table sat a lady in red, with bold red lipstick and curly blonde hair, having a conversation with a man. She was having a drink and seemed very happy. At some points in the conversation, she laughed hysterically. That was the effect I needed to have, I thought to myself. Give me what she is having, I said, as I pointed to the lady in red. In less than a minute, my drink arrived. I gulped down the first glass. I felt a hot sensation in my chest. Painful, but then it felt good. Then I concern of the bartender as he stared with a disturbed face. I blacked out. I woke up unable to open my eyes due to the brightness of daylight with a very severe throbbing headache. The environment was quite strange and serene. Where am I? Then I heard his baritone. Good morning, beautiful. How was your night? Oh my God, what is going on? Hope I have not been violated. I quickly checked myself and I was fine. I heaved a sigh of relief. Then he walked in with an average height lady. Seeing the lady made me feel at home. He was a very fine man, a tall glass of dark chocolate, like my Nigerian sisters would say. You are safe, there is no cause for alarm, said the charming young lady. I am Sandra. Meet my brother Kola. He brought you here late last night. I made breakfast and I am off to work. Will I see you after work? It was all like a dream to me. I was still staring at both of them confused. A hot tea will do you some good, Sandra continued. Thank you, Sandra. I will be heading home. I also have some work to do, but I will drop by and check you subsequently, I said. Have a nice day. I didn't get your name. What's your name? I'm NK. Thanks again, I said. She hurried out of the house. Then I was left with the cute baritone guy. While I spoke to his sister, he was standing by the door staring at me. I quickly packed my stuff and headed for the door. Where are you rushing to? He said. And why were you drunk last night with your shoes your hand trying to get killed by my vehicle? I just stood still looking at him. Is he my father? Why would he query me like that? Thousands of thoughts raced through my mind. How would I tell this man? My fiancé just tended a relationship for 5 years. A shameful tale to tell indeed. How could I tell him that my naivety led me to a parasitic man who disappeared with the money I had saved up for my business? How could I tell him that a financial house took away my new car because I hadn't repaid the loan I took for that sorry of a man? Jack, he ruined me. Oh, Kim, why are you staring into space? Don't I deserve an answer? I jerked back into reality. Oh, well, I had some pressing personal issues. I just needed to calm down. That was my first time having alcohol, by the way. I didn't know it would hit me that bad. I am sorry for any inconvenience I caused you, sir. Madam, can please, my name is Kola, not sir. All right, Kola, thanks again. He drove me home and promised to call me. While I laid on my bed, my mind roamed through the events of last night. So there are still good people in this world. What if I was knocked down by a vehicle? I doubt I will ever try this alcohol thing again. Oh, Linda would laugh the hell out of me when she hears this gist. Linda, my vibrant, beautiful friend. She is my next door neighbor. She spends most of her time in my flat. Apparently, there was an urgent call from home, so she traveled to Bende. I can't stop thinking of how she kept warning me about my ex. She could see through him at the time, but she became my arch enemy for a long while because of the counsel she gave me. Would I say she was jealous? Of course not. My ex was cute, had a good job at an oil company, pampered me and made me happy. So I thought, till this terrible habit of money lending cropped up, he would say, babe, there is a business that just came out. I have 500,000. I just need 50,000 extra to make it up. Please, my ATM card has issues. It would take a week to get a new one. I know it's not easy for you, but I will make the transfer next week. As if I was spellbound, I would quickly send the money to his other account. Then getting back the money would be story upon story. I would yell, threaten, cry, and shout out my lungs, but nothing worked. Those were red flags that couldn't be ignored, but somehow the charcoal in my brain refused to be erased by counsels from friends and family. I had hoped things would change till I finally took the 5 million loan that led to the financial house taking away the new car Daddy gave me for my 25th birthday. Now I know better. Linda was just being a good friend. It's only a girl blinded by toxic love that sees counsel as jealousy. My shop had been locked for a while because I was crying over spilled milk. I also had some hair deliveries to do. Some clients already sent text messages. Time to work. I had to get back on my feet and make some money. I was already broke. I called Friday. The delivery tell she was fuming already. I had to take her call in order to pacify her. Good afternoon, Mom. Madame, I haven't seen your delivery guy. What's going on? I told you I have a wedding to attend tomorrow with that wig. Don't disappoint me. She hung up. She didn't even give me room to talk. I sensed she might be angry, and that made me uneasy. Yeah, Toby. A very beautiful customer. One of my very best customers. She was the kind that stumbles on one's page on Instagram and quickly buys. She buys in bulk and always pays immediately. Know the type of commit today, come tomorrow. I had to find a way to get her wig across to hair. I can't lose this woman. I packed her order and was careful not to forget the wig. I called a cab and dashed to her estate. Once I arrived at her door, she was delighted to see me. She invited me into her tastefully furnished home. I am very sorry for the way I spoke earlier in Kim. For a while I thought you would disappoint me. It's my best friend's daughter's wedding tomorrow, and I want to look pink for her. I heard blonde wigs look beautiful on light-skinned ladies. Yes, this one you have on is very beautiful. Let me take a look, she said excitedly. I hope to make a beautiful fashion statement tomorrow, she said as she wore the wig and made faces in the mirror. You look beautiful, Ida Toby. The wig suits your complexion, I said. Thank you so much, Zinkem. She took me next door to hassle her friends to buy from me. She sells quality hair, people buy from her, she said. I sold 4 more wigs on the spot. What a woman. Who knew? The friendly Iya Toby was a high-ranking detective. Little wonder she speaks with a stern voice. I saw her picture in her lavish sitting room. Oh, Mo, I shock. We chatted a bit more and I took my leave. I had more deliveries to do. I bade her goodbye and dashed out. In front of the estate gate, I saw a woman roasting corn. It's been a while since I had fresh roasted corn. I walked down to her corn stand and picked 2. She packaged it and gave it Tony. The cab driver was nowhere to be found. Why is Brother Oho doing this now? I told him we had a lot of places to go to. I had called him several times and he wasn't picking up. I kept trying while I passed back and forth. My other phone had been ringing for a while. Impatient customers didn't let me rest. It wasn't their fault though. I had withheld their orders for a while. Then I felt a light tap on my shoulder. If you are still here with me, thank you. Wonder what happened next? Please subscribe for episode 2. See you soon. I turned and saw him. He looked more handsome than the last time I saw him. Tall, dark, small eyes, pointed nose, a strong, well-defined jaw with neatly groomed beards. While I stared, he smiled, revealing his snow-white teeth and cute dimples. Wait, was I drooling? But this man is cute, Shaw. Hi, Ken. He finally broke the silence. Hello, Cola. What are you doing around here? I should ask you that. Ken. I live here, in that estate, he said, pointing at Iya Toby's estate gate. Small world. That's where my client lives. I just delivered her goods now. I have been waiting for my cabman. I have more goods to deliver, but he isn't forthcoming. Oh, that's a pity, sorry. I could help if you would give me a minute. Let me get my car. A beautiful lady shouldn't be kept standing. That would be lovely, I responded quickly before he changed his mind. I needed all that help a bag. Brocola, well done, sir. Oh, the corn seller greeted him. Oh, she knows him too? Good afternoon, Ma. I almost forgot why I came out here. Madam, Albert helped me prepare 2 corn ade come. I sat with the corn woman while I waited for Cola. Bro Cola a very good man, she began. He did always take care of me and my children, she continued. He fit buy this 2 corn 5,000 naira. I know say it just they help me. Now God go bless Al. Give am good woman to marry. Amen, I responded while I perused the environment. Cola was fast. He came out sooner than I expected. I put my huge bag into his boot and we zoomed off. As we drove off, I settled into the passenger seat, inhaling the soft masculine scent that filled the car. This cola guy smelled expensive. Not the I just sprayed 1 full bottle of perfume type, but the I use quality products and drink plenty of water type. Interesting. So, Nakem, how's business doing? He asked. day, money day enter, but no easy. He chuckled. That's how business is. But from what I see, you're doing well. I smiled. A compliment from a fine man with dimples? Yes, please. We continued chatting as we made stops at my clients' places. I introduced him as my friend, and to my surprise, he played the role well. Polite, patient, even helping to carry some of the goods like a proper gentleman. My clients, mostly women, gave me knowing glances. One even whispered, "This one the husband material of." I just smiled and ignored her. 2 hours later, the last delivery was done, and Cola suggested we grab some ice cream. I wasn't about to say no. After all, my energy needed replenishing. We found a cozy spot and ordered our flavors. I went for my usual chocolate and vanilla swirl, while Cola, ever the adventurous one, got something called salted caramel espresso crunch. I just shook my head. "You don't like trying new things?" he teased as he took a spoonful. "I do, but I like to stay where I'm sure. What if I try it and hate it? Waste of money." He laughed. "Fair enough, but you'll never know if you don't try." I rolled my eyes playfully. "This is not motivational speaking class, a beg." We finished our ice cream, and just as we were about to leave, he turned to me. "There's this love feast at my church tomorrow evening. You should come." I hesitated. Church event? But before I could overthink it, I heard my own voice say, "Okay, I'll come." He smiled. "Great, I'll remind you." By the time he dropped me off, I was in an unusually good mood. I hummed while eating dinner, hummed while washing dishes, and even hummed while flipping through my Allure Secrets workbook. The next morning, I woke up with an odd excitement. Was it because of Cola? No, it couldn't be. Maybe it was just the good business I had yesterday. Or maybe, just maybe, it was Cola. I pushed the thought aside, got dressed, and headed to my shop. As expected, my customers trooped in, asking about new stock and filling my shop with the usual hustle and bustle. Then my phone rang. "Hello, beautiful." I glanced at the screen. Truecaller had already told me who it was, but I decided to play ignorant. "Hi, who am I speaking with, please?" He chuckled. "It's Cola in Ken. How are you today?" I smiled involuntarily. "Oh, Cola, I'm fine." Why was my stomach suddenly filled with butterflies? Was it from hunger or something else? Right, that's great. Just wanted to remind you about the love feast at 4 p.m. I can come pick you up if you want. I hesitated. Should I let her? It wasn't a big deal, right? But before I could say yes, my strong independent woman mode activated. "That would be nice, but don't worry, I'll find my way there. Thanks for calling, by the way." "All right then. See you later." After the call ended, I caught myself grinning. What was this man doing to me? My customers kept coming and I worked tirelessly juggling sales, packaging, and answering endless questions. Business was booming, but my mind, it was partially at the shop and partially at 4 p.m. As the day wore on, I found myself checking the time more often than usual. By 3 p.m., I knew I had to start rounding up. A beg, I cannot miss seeing Cola today. By the time I locked up, my heart was already beating in anticipation. Was this just an event, or was something new unfolding? By the time the last customer left, I had exactly an hour to freshen up and make it to the love feast. I locked up quickly and dashed home like an athlete competing for gold. No way was I going to let this opportunity slip. I rummaged through my wardrobe, pulling out outfits like a contestant on Nigerian Idol, picking the perfect song. I needed something simple yet captivating. Not too churchy, but not too "who's that girl" either. After much deliberation and a mini fashion show in front of my mirror, I settled on a knee-length floral dress that hugged me in the right places, but still said, "I'm a virtuous woman, but I have small pepper inside." By 3:55 p.m., I was at the door, heading to the venue. The love feast was at a beautiful garden with fairy lights hanging from trees and soft music playing in the background. It was giving Kim, he said, his eyes doing that twinkle thing that made my heart do gibish gibish. Thank you, Cola. This place is really nice, I said, looking around. As we walked in, a lady in a red dress approached Cola and gave him a tight hug. A too tight hug, if you ask me. Cola, you finally made it, she said, her voice sugary sweet. He chuckled. Yes, I did. And Kim, this is Amaka, a longtime friend from church. Hi, Kim, Amaka said, giving me a smile that felt like those ones customer service people give you when they actually don't care. Hi, I responded with my own version of the customer service smile. I wasn't sure why, but I suddenly felt like drinking chilled Coke to cool down the unnecessary heat that was rising within me. Who was this Amaka? And why was she holding onto Cola's arm like she paid his bride price? Cola, oblivious to my internal monologue, led me to a table where food was being served. The aroma of jollof rice, grilled chicken, and puff-puff filled the air. My stomach reminded me that no matter how many butterflies Cola gave me, food would always be my first love. So, Kim, Cola started after we had settled with our plates. Tell me about your business. How did you start? Ah, my brother, it's a long story. Oh, I said, pausing to take a bite of chicken. I started small, just selling a few things here and there, but business has grown. God has been faithful. I can tell, he said, nodding. You strike me as someone who is very determined. That's me, I said, flashing a smile. We continued talking and laughing, and before I knew it, the event was coming to an end. Cola walked me to where I could get a cab, but just as I was about to enter, he touched my hand lightly. Okay, I really enjoyed tonight. I hope we can do this again sometime. I smiled. I would like that. As I rode home, I found myself grinning, like someone who had just won a Visa lottery. The melody in my heart became louder as I strolled into my flat, my steps light with contentment. It had been a fulfilling day, one of those rare ones where the universe aligns with your dreams. The universe, however, had not aligned with NEPA. The entire place was in darkness. Sighing, I fished my keys out, using the dim light from my phone, fumbling like a contestant in a blindfolded game show. After a minor battle with the keyhole, the door finally gave way. I stepped inside, collapsed onto my soft bed, and let sleep carry me away. It had been 3 months since I met Cola, and let me tell you, Allure Secrets and the List changed my life. After the love feast we attended together, I had a moment of epiphany. Cola was a walking, breathing checklist of my dream man. The right mix of charm, ambition, and just the right amount of mystery. Was he too perfect? Maybe. Did I care? Not one bit. All that mattered was that he made me happy. I had silently prayed for him to ask me out. Gone were the days when I boldly chased men like a lioness on the prowl. No, darling, I had evolved. I had mastered the art of attraction. And trust me, I was loving every bit of it. We hung out frequently, and our chemistry was undeniable. One moment in particular still makes me chuckle. Our first movie date. We were at a packed cinema, the air buzzing with excitement. Somewhere between the action-packed scenes and the dramatic dialogue, Cola did the unexpected. He placed his head on my shoulder and fell asleep. I had mixed feelings. Should I be offended, flattered, amused? But as I watched his peaceful face, a strange warmth filled my chest. He trusted me enough to let his guard down. After the movie, he kissed my forehead, a simple, tender gesture that sent fireworks through my bloodstream. That night, a single question consumed my thoughts. Is he the one? God must have been eavesdropping on my thoughts because, out of the blue, Cola finally made his move. Picture this, a lovely evening at my shop. I was minding my business, doing my thing, when Cola drove in, carrying a box of pizza and ice cream. What's the occasion? I asked, my curiosity piqued. Nothing, just checking on my beautiful friend, he replied smoothly. We chatted for a while, laughter dancing between us, until his expression changed. Suddenly, his face was serious, too serious. My heart did a double beat. No woman has ever held my attention this long and Ken, he said, his voice thick with emotion. You fit into everything I've imagined for my dream woman. Do you remember the list? I nodded, my pulse racing. I never knew a list could be complete in one person. Please, say yes to me. Be my girl. Cold shivers ran down my spine. If only he knew how many times I had whispered this exact prayer. Yes, Cola, yes! And just like that, I stepped into what I thought was the beginning of my bliss. At first, Cola seemed like your regular everyday guy, until I got closer and saw the receipts. Ladies and gentlemen, Cola had money, not just let's go to a nice restaurant money. Number Cola ran a multinational company. He had links, connections, influence, the whole package. Yet, despite his wealth, he remained humble. He made time for me. Lunch dates in between his busy schedule, romantic getaways. We even attended weekly church activities together. With him, I saw love in human form. He didn't just love me, he elevated me physically, spiritually, socially. He boosted my business in ways I never imagined. One day, he casually connected me with luxury hair vendors. The next thing I knew, I was an importer. My small shop expanded into three. Sales girls, hired, my business, flourishing. I had officially entered my Madam era. Of course, Iyatobi, the one customer who refused to acknowledge my elevation, insisted I still personally delivered her goods. But I didn't mind. It was always an opportunity to gist and bond with her. Kola also introduced me to his circle, and soon enough, I was rubbing shoulders with society's elite. I became the woman people whispered about, the one always by Kola's side at corporate events. He flaunted me, making sure the world knew I was his. I felt wanted, I felt validated, I felt important. For the first time in a long time, Kola was the high-value man I had read about in Allure Secrets. But as I basked in the glow of my new life, I forgot one crucial thing. When something seems too good to be true, it usually is.
She had it all, or so she thought. A man who adored her, showered her with wealth, elevated her to heights she never imagined. Love, luxury, power. But one secret changed everything. A truth so dark it made her question everything she knew about him, about their life. What did she find? Would she expose him? Or would she stay, pretending nothing had happened? Some truths are too dangerous to reveal. Some secrets, too terrifying to face. What would you do?
If love was a fairy tale, mine turned into a nightmare. I fought for freedom, but every time I reached for it, the chains tightened. Now I wake up in my husband's house, but I never chose to return. What happened? And why does my skin crawl at the sound of his voice? The scent of freshly cooked jollof rice drifted into my nose, an aroma I once associated with warmth and comfort. But this time, it smelled like deception. My eyes fluttered open, my body stiff and unyielding against the soft mattress. I knew this bed. I knew this room. I was home. My heart started to pound. Number, no, no, no. I had been in the hospital. I was supposed to leave. I was supposed to run. I squeezed my eyes shut, trying to remember the last thing before my world went dark. Deji had stormed out of the hospital, his face twisted in rage after I told him I was leaving. I had called the nurse, requested my discharge, and she had nodded politely before handing me my last dose of medication. Then, nothing. My fingers trembled as I pressed them against my temple. My limbs felt heavy, like they had been drained of life. Could he have paid someone to sedate me? I shuddered at the thought. I forced myself up, my legs wobbling as I staggered toward the door. I needed to call someone. Amanda! I snapped snatched my phone from the nightstand and dialed her number. She picked up on the first ring. Bola, are you okay? What's going on? I swallowed the lump in my throat. Amanda, I don't know what happened. I woke up at home. What? But you were supposed to leave the hospital. How? I don't know, I whispered. I just woke up here. Amanda sucked in a breath. Maybe Deji realized he was wrong. Maybe he wants to change, Bola. I let out a hollow laugh. Change? A man who had nearly killed me multiple times? A man whose hands had left bruises darker than the night? Maybe the baby will change him, Amanda added softly. I flinched at her words. I wanted to believe it. I needed to believe it. Unless, Amanda hesitated, unless he has no milk of human kindness at all. A knock at the door. I turned and there he was, Deji, the man who had once held my face in his hands and whispered promises of love, the man who had proposed under the shimmering Paris lights, the man who had shattered me piece by piece until I was unrecognizable. And yet, he stood before me, holding flowers. Bola. His voice was soft, almost gentle. I got these for you. I stared at him. He knelt down in front of me. I'm sorry, he said. I know I've hurt you, but please, believe me, I'll do better. As usual, I felt nothing. Not anger, not fear, just emptiness. I prepared something for you, he continued. Come with me. I didn't move. He reached out, taking my hand in his, and against my will, I followed. The hallway was lined with red rose petals. The scent of vanilla candles filled the air. I stopped at the doorway of what used to be the guest room. The door swung open. Inside, the walls were painted in soft pastel colors, and a crib sat in the center, adorned with tiny stuffed animals. A large banner hung above it. Welcome home, my love. Tears pricked at my eyes. For the first time in months, a smile crossed my lips. He has changed, I whispered excitedly to Amanda later that night. I told you the baby will change him, she replied, though her voice held an edge of caution. Maybe she was right. Maybe Deji could be different. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months. Deji carried me like a fragile egg, pampered me, made me feel like a queen. He attended antenatal visits with me, played with my growing belly, whispered lullabies to our unborn child. I began to hope. The monster had disappeared. In his place was the man I had fallen in love with. And then the cracks began to show. He would have mood swings, screaming at me, locking himself away for days without eating my food. I told myself it was fine. At least he wasn't hitting me. At least my bruises had healed. At least I could smile again. Amanda's words echoed in my head. He seemed to have changed. But be very careful, dear. The past few months had felt like a dream, an illusion of happiness painted over wounds that had not yet healed. Deji had been different, or so I had allowed myself to believe. He was gentle, present, doting. He played with my belly, whispering sweet nothings to our unborn child. He accompanied me to my antenatal appointments, helped me put my swollen feet up, and even massaged them at night. I was almost convinced. Almost. At 36 weeks, my belly stretched like a balloon nearing its limit. Moving around was difficult, but I found solace in the simple things. Watching TV in the afternoons, feeling my baby kick against my ribs, humming lullabies I had learned from my mother. That afternoon, I was seated in the living room, my hands resting on my belly, watching a reality show when the front door slammed open with a force that rattled the walls. Deji stormed inside, his eyes wild, his chest heaving like a predator ready to strike. Where is my wristwatch? He bellowed, his voice slicing through the air. The rage in his tone made my skin crawl. I sat up slowly, my heart hammering. You usually keep it on the center table, I said cautiously. Let's check there. I struggled to grinding pain exploded across my face. The force sent me rolling onto the couch, my vision blurred with unshed tears. My hands instinctively cradled my belly. I gasped, struggling to process what had just happened. My mind screamed at me, "Run! Run! Now!" I scrambled up, my body sluggish but desperate. I stumbled toward the next room, slipping inside and locking the door just as Deji's fist pounded against it. "Bula! Open this door!" he screamed. His voice was venom, thick with rage. I pressed my back against the door, my breath coming in short, panicked bursts. My hands trembled as they clutched my belly protectively. "Where is my watch? You think you can play games with me?" His fists slammed against the door, again and again, shaking it on its hinges. It was in that moment that I knew I had married a monster, not a man. A beast in human skin. Amanda had been right all along. "He needs help, Bola. You know that, right? He isn't normal. You can't keep pretending he is." She had pleaded with me before. I had snapped at her, told her to stay out of my marriage. But now, sitting behind the locked door with a psychopath trying to break it down, her words came crashing down on me. They never changed. Tears burned down my cheeks. I muffled my cries with my palm, afraid that any sound would set him off even more. Minutes passed. The pounding stopped. Then silence. I must have cried myself to sleep, because when I woke up, the house was eerily quiet. The digital clock on the nightstand blinked 12:07 a.m. Midnight. My breath was shallow as I pressed my ear against the door. Nothing. I had to leave. Now I tiptoed across the room, my swollen belly making each step slow and deliberate. Every creak in the wooden floor sounded like a gunshot in the silence. I reached for the doorknob, turning it painfully slow. It opened. The hallway stretched before me, dark and empty. My heartbeat pounded in my ears as I made my way to the front door, inch by inch, breath by breath. Almost there, a single step from freedom. Then crash! A white-hot pain exploded through my waist as Deji slammed the glass center table against me. The sound of shattering glass filled the room as I crumpled to the ground. Pain, agonizing, excruciating pain. I gasped, my hands flying to my belly. Blood, so much blood. I looked up, my vision swimming, and saw Deji standing over me, his chest heaving, his hands clenched into fists, his face twisted into something inhuman. "You thought you could leave me?" His voice was terrifyingly calm. "You're mine, Bola, do you hear me? Mine!" The city of Lagos was alive with the usual chaos that comes with a Friday night. The streets buzzed with the noise of honking cars, the distant laughter of night-goers, and the harsh cries of street vendors trying to make their last sales of the day. But there I was, trapped in the dark, in the throes of excruciating pain, with only my thoughts to keep me company. I had never felt pain like this before. My stomach churned, my limbs shook, and I could barely catch my breath. But through it all, my thoughts were focused on one thing: save my baby. I screamed it again and again, my voice hoarse from the effort. Help me, save my baby. The wetness soaking my clothes made it clear I was bleeding a lot. My hands trembling reached for my stomach, desperately trying to hold on to the life growing inside me. But I could feel myself slipping away, inch by inch, as the pain grew more intense. And then the world around me seemed to fade away. The harsh hospital lights above dimmed, and the sounds of the siren began to blur into nothingness. My breathing slowed, and for a moment, everything felt surreal. And then something happened. Something I couldn't explain, yet something that felt almost like a release. I saw myself. I was above the chaos, watching from a distance as my body lay motionless, a ghost to my own existence. I could still hear the doctors shouting, see the frantic movement of their hands, but I wasn't really there. Not physically. I wasn't breathing. I wasn't bleeding. I was simply watching. Deji was breaking with desperation as he clutched the doctor's feet, begging them to save me. His hands were stained with my blood, but he didn't care. He only wanted me alive. I saw the tears streaming down his face, the weight of his guilt and panic pressing down on him. Please, God, don't take her from me. It was almost too much to bear, seeing him like that in so much pain. He didn't deserve this. None of this was his fault, and yet I had become the victim of a toxic love, one that I had refused to leave for too long. But no matter how much he begged, no matter how much he cried, it wasn't enough. I wasn't coming back. I watched as they rushed me into the operating theater, the cold metal doors sliding shut behind me. The sterile scent of the hospital hit me, and I wanted to scream, to tell them that I wasn't ready to die, that I wasn't ready to leave my son, to leave my daughter, to leave my life. But no one could hear me. No one could see me. I ran after the doctors as they pushed me into the theater, but no matter how fast I ran, no one seemed to notice me. I couldn't even get close enough to speak to anyone. I reached out to a nurse, tried to grab her sleeve, but my hand passed right through her. Was I dead? Was I really just a ghost? Please, I begged, someone help me. But there was no one to answer. The doctors worked frantically, their hands moving like lightning as they tried to stop the bleeding. I could hear the beeping of the monitor, the frantic rush of commands, and the sterile silence that settled over the room. But none of it felt real. None of it mattered. I was slipping away, and no one could bring me back. Suddenly, the door to the other room opened, and I saw my baby, my little girl, being carried in. Her tiny body was limp, lifeless in the neonatologist's arms. I followed them as they rushed her to the resuscitation room. Please, God, don't take her from me, too. They worked tirelessly, giving her oxygen, performing cardiac compressions, doing everything they could to bring her back. But I could see the desperation in their eyes, and it felt like a punch to my gut. I wanted to hold her, to kiss her, to tell her how much I loved her, but I couldn't. I couldn't do anything. Time slowed as I watched them work on her, my heart breaking into pieces. I couldn't feel anything except the overwhelming sense of helplessness. Please, I prayed, save her. Don't let her die. But it was too late. She was gone. Hot, silent tears streamed down my face as I stared at her. She was so beautiful, even in death. Her tiny face, her tiny hands, her delicate features. I would never get to hold her, never get to watch her grow, never get to hear her laugh. It wasn't fair. It wasn't supposed to end like this. And then I felt it. The moment I realized that I too was slipping away. I wasn't dead yet, but I was no longer truly alive either. I could feel myself fading, my essence draining away. The doctors had already begun to stitch me up, but I knew it wouldn't be enough. I was gone. The monitor beeped wildly once more. I heard the anesthesiologist shout, "Her blood pressure is through the roof. We're losing her." They tried to shock me back to life again and again, but I couldn't feel it. I couldn't feel anything. My body was just there, helpless. "Wake up," I begged. "Don't give up on me. Please don't give up on me." But it was too late. An hour later, the doctor called it. "Time of death, 6:57 p.m., he said. And that was it. My story was over. But I wasn't ready to leave. I wasn't ready to accept this fate. I watched as they covered me, as they prepared to take my body away. I wasn't even given a chance to say goodbye to my family, to my son, to my parents, to Deji. The funeral was a blur of faces, of whispers, of people pretending to care. But none of it mattered. Deji had already moved on. As soon as I was lowered into the ground, he was in the arms of another woman, a woman who had no idea of the monster she was marrying, a woman who would suffer just like I had. I watched from the silence of my grave as the woman he was with laughed, carefree, oblivious to the pain she was about to endure. And then I realized it was over. He had won. He had taken my life, and now he was moving on. He would never feel the pain I felt. He would never understand the hurt I had endured. I felt the bitter taste of regret on my tongue. Why had stayed? Why had I believed that things would get better? I should have left him. I should have asked for help. I should have run before it was too late. But now it was too late, and I was nothing but a ghost. But at least I tried. I know I really tried. I sat on my grave, a 26-year-old woman who had lost everything. My life, my love, my future, all gone. And for what? Because I stayed in a toxic relationship? Because I believed in a man who never loved me? Don't make the same mistake I did. Thank you for watching. I value your support. Like, share with your friends, and subscribe for more stories. Thank you. See you in my next story. Whispered forever into my ears, and I knew then that if I didn't leave, I wouldn't make it out alive. The morning was quiet, too quiet. I tiptoed to the door, my packed bag in hand. My heart pounded as I turned the knob. Then I heard his voice behind me. Where are you going, my love? Terror gripped me. Daisy! I didn't get to finish my sentence before his hands were around my neck. Tight, tighter. I fought. I clawed at his arms. I kicked, but he was stronger. The last thing I heard was his whisper. You're mine, Bola, till death do us part. Now I stand as a silent observer, watching the world mourn me, watching DG weep over my casket, receiving condolences, playing the part of a grieving husband. I want to scream. I want to tell them that this is the same man who ended me. But the dead cannot speak. So I watch. And I weep for the woman I once was. The woman who could have lived. The woman who could have chosen herself before it was too late. If only I had left him. If only I had saved myself. He always beat me. But the terrible thing about it was, he seemed unaware of the abuse. Shocking, right? I couldn't even begin to comprehend how the man I had once loved, the man who once made me feel like the only woman in the world, could now treat me as though I was invisible, as if my pain didn't matter. I remember the day he chased me around the house with a knife. I had made the desperate decision to call Mama, to finally break my silence and tell someone about the horror I was living. I had been suffering in silence for so long, hiding bruises, erasing tears, and pretending to be happy. But this time, I needed someone to know. I needed help. I tried to keep my voice calm, tried to make it sound like everything was okay, but I couldn't hide the tremor in my voice. Mama, I need help. I don't know how much longer I can take this. I never expected him to be standing at the door, eavesdropping, hearing every word I said. The moment I hung up, he charged at me. His eyes were wild, full of rage. He grabbed me by the wrist and hissed, Who were you talking to? What were you telling her? Why do you want to end my life prematurely? My heart pounded in my chest. I knew I had made a mistake, a fatal mistake. I had exposed the truth, and now I would pay for it. We ran around the room like animals in a cage, me trying to escape, him hunting me down like prey. I raced down the stairs, my feet stumbling over the steps, my life depending on how fast I could go. He was right behind me, a beast on a mission to silence me forever. Then it happened. He caught me, and in one swift motion, he slashed my arm with a jagged piece of metal. The pain was instantaneous, and the blood poured out of me, staining the floor beneath us. I screamed, but my voice felt distant, like I was trapped in a nightmare I couldn't wake up from. He didn't even pause for a second. Instead, he scooped me up, his hands crushing my body, and dragged me into the car. We sped to the hospital. The whole time, I could barely see through the blood that clouded my vision. At the hospital, the doctors immediately took me into the emergency room. They needed a history of what happened, but Deji didn't give them the full story. No, he simply told them that when he got home, he found me like that. He wasn't concerned about my pain. All he cared about was protecting himself. And I felt relief in that moment. The hospital was a sanctuary. Wow. Wow. I'm really enjoying every bit of this. Okay, it's time to rest for the day. I hope you enjoyed this tale as much as I do. Thank you guys for being here. I love you. And I'll see you guys some other time. Let's do this again. Deal? Deal. So guys, thank you for watching. Let me pause this video for a bit. Thank you guys for being here with me. I've really enjoyed myself. Thank you for having these conversations with me. They are very important about parenting, about the moral lessons from all these stories. I'm not just writing to entertain you. No, I'm creating these tales so that we learn something and be better people as parents, as fiancés, as wives, as families. Okay? I love you guys. Thank you for supporting me. Share this video, like this video, and please subscribe. It's free now, I beg. Subscribe, guys. Alright, see you soon. We will run this some other time, okay? Bye, ya.